You might remember Amy Cooper. She was the white woman who called 911 on a black man at Central Park. This actually happened last year, which to me it feels like it happened about 5 years ago. But this happened, and she, called the cops on this blackbird watcher, Christian Cooper, absolutely no relation. And this is at a time where lots of videos had been coming out of unarmed black men being shot by police. So now she's back in the news. No, she did not call the cops on any more black people, thankfully. However, she is suing her former employer. Forget this, racial discrimination. Because of course she did. Wow. All right, so now Cooper had lost her job at an investment firm, Franklin Templeton, last May after calling 911 on this bird watcher after falsely accusing him of threatening her. She said, "I'm taking a picture and calling the cops. I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life." No, the only person who was threatening anybody's life there was her. Again, you know that black men get shot for no reason in this country, and that there's an entire history of white affluent women weaponizing the police against black people, making false charges that ends up getting them either jailed or killed. Emmett Till is a great example. It's the most famous example, who was, he was lynched in Mississippi in 1955 after being accused of offending a white woman. That woman, her last name is Bryant, had admitted to lying about Till making unwanted advances towards her during a trial. So, look, that is an ugly history of horrible lies being used by some people against black people. That's why she was fired. But Amy Cooper is now claiming, I'm the real victim here. Okay, I've been victimized by the company that fired me because of cancel culture. Yes, it's all cancel culture. In fact, according to her lawsuit, the defendants knew that they had not performed, the defendants being the company, that they had not performed an investigation into the May 25, 2020 incident in Central Park involving our plaintiff, but nevertheless published statements that they had. Those statements concluded that Amy Cooper was a racist, adding that the firm did not seek to interview anybody about the facts surrounding the incident. Amy Cooper maintains in the suit that she called the police out of fear for her safety and that of her dog, the dog that she was choking, and that the call was not racially motivated. The lawsuit further claims that Franklin Templeton's decision to invoke racism in its statement announcing Cooper's termination was defamatory and that her civil rights had been violated. What civil rights? The defendant's announcements to the effect that they had conducted an investigation and that the investigation concluded indisputably that the plaintiff was a racist, when defendants knew they had not conducted an investigation which concluded indisputably that the plaintiff was a racist, was extreme and outrageous, the suit claims. The Manhattan DA's office in February had dropped a misdemeanor charge against Cooper after she completed an education and therapy classes on racial equity, which apparently had no effect at all. I mean, all right. Now she is seeking lost pay, emotional damages, as well as punitive damages to be determined by trial. Oh, here we go with the cancel culture. Okay. Wow. Talk about total 100% Karen behavior. The Karen of Karens. You've got to be kidding me. Now, again, this is somebody who claims to be the victim. What about the actual victim in this situation? And I'm not just talking about the dog. Christian Cooper. Now, Christian Cooper, actually, when this whole thing was, possibly going to turn into a criminal trial with a misdemeanor, he's like, look, why don't we just leave her alone? All right? Why don't we leave her alone? She's not the focus of here. Why don't we actually do something about the system that encourages this, the actual issue? In fact, here's what he said. Focusing on charging Amy Cooper lets white people off the hook from all of that. They can scream for her head while leaving their own prejudices unexamined. They can push for a prosecution and pat themselves on the back for having done something about racism when they've actually done nothing. And their own Amy Cooper remains only one purse clutch in the presence of a black man away. Based. This guy's 100% right. It is that culture. It is that implicit bias that's in a lot of people. Again, the purse clutching is a great example. You know, a black man gets onto an elevator with a white woman. You know, there's that body language, and you know, the protecting, the clutching of the purse, and the, you know, defensive posture, and it's all because of this implicit bias that is in a lot of people. I mean, that's really the problem of society that we need to look into. And so, you know, he's again absolutely right. Here's what he added. Considering that Amy Cooper has already lost her job and her reputation, it's hard to see what is to be gained by a criminal charge, aside from the upholding of principle. If her current setbacks aren't deterrent enough to others seeking to weaponize race, it's unlikely the threat of a legal action would change that. He also wrote that if the fear of the police would have done me harm, or if the fear is that police would have done me harm after the woman's call, then the solution is to fix policing. I must err on the side of compassion and choose not to be involved in this prosecution. The man, and the reason I say based is because the man does not care about punishing Amy Cooper. He cares about fixing the system. Amy is only worried about herself. And it just shows the dichotomy between the two. How one is worried about, hey, look, I don't want anybody else to be in the position that I was in because people get shot and killed by police as a result of this. Whereas Amy's like, I'm the victim, cancel culture, they canceled me, I demand remuneration. The thing is, she did this to herself. She did this to herself and has now taken an entitled mentality to try to blame other people for it. Okay? The difference of how both have handled this a year later is so incredibly stark. And it's an example of how, again, certain white people feel a little bit of privilege and are so deeply offended by being called a racist or being called out for racial biases instead of actually fixing them. I get, like, for some white people, being called a racist to them is worse than, you know, for them, like I said, it's so much worse than them than actual racism. Like, how dare you call me a racist? They get so mad. They get so offended. It is frustrating. But again, Christian only wanted her to learn a lesson to become a better person. And it's unfortunate that she's not going in that direction. She's not going to take the L and learn something from it. No. She's going to go and, of course, do this ridiculous crap. Now, I promised you some shredding. Let's do, hence the title of the video. And so let's get to it. One person says, remember when some of y'all argued that Amy Cooper must have learned her lesson and didn't deserve any additional adverse outcomes? Yeah. Another person says, thank you, Amy Cooper, for proving once again that you were exactly the person we thought you were. Another person, Adrian Lawrence, says, Amy Cooper once again displays her audacity front and center. It could be the caucasity. I know. I just canceled myself. You can't cancel me. I've already done it to myself. I thought she apologized. She did not. No. Shocked. Not shocked that Amy Cooper turns out to be sorry, not sorry. Another person says, for those who think aligning with such things as the Democratic Party absolve you of being racist, never forget that Amy Cooper is not a Trump-supporting Republican. She is a Democrat who voted for Obama. She is also a deeply racist white woman. Yeah, and that's it too. It is weaponizing the police against black people for making them feel uncomfortable. And you can absolutely be a racist person and claim to be an ally. Because it's really about what you do, not the things that you say. You can call yourself an ally. You can say, "Oh no, I'm totally fine. I'm not, not racist. No racist bones in my body," and then perpetuate white supremacy. And that's it. You can do that. So, it's one of those things where your deeds, what you do, are way more important than the words that you say. And this is a great example of that. Another person said, "God, this never ends. I knew we weren't done with the Amy Cooper, the ultimate Karen, who knows how to weaponize her white tears. It's been a year almost to the day, and this woman is still angry she got caught out being racist. This is why we need to hold people like this accountable." Another person says, "The racist dog abuser Amy Cooper, who tried to get a black man killed by police simply because he was bird watching, is now suing your former employer for firing her after the viral video surfaced showing her being racist. You see how white supremacy works." And finally, a year ago, the outrageous video of Amy Cooper inspired me to write this piece for the Washington Post about privilege and policing. As a public defender, I know that the system isn't broken. It's built like this on purpose. And it's up to us to make transformative change. Absolutely. 100%. It is on us to make change. Again, implicit bias is not going to go away. You actually have to challenge it as a person, as a human being when it comes to growth. I've had to tackle with my own biases growing up as a white kid in the country. And so we all have to grapple with this. Again, you can profess to be the least racist person in the world, but at the end of the day, you'll still probably end up like Donald Trump, sounding like him at least, and perpetuating white supremacy. Don't do that. You got to learn how to deal and challenge those notions, those presuppositions that you have about groups of people in order to become a better, well-rounded individual and actually have some personal growth. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.